most of all, thank you for all those people attending. So a really good day to all of you. I live in Antwerp in Belgium. It's 12:30, 11, sort of around here. I hope you had a beautiful day already so far with the event. I'm really grateful that I can share some thoughts, sort of personal thoughts also on what it means, at least for me, to humanize the workplace. And let me share some things. And let me start by this. This is a quote saying, life isn't about finding yourself. It is about creating yourself. This is a picture from a little wooden box I have at home here this is my home office in Antwerp in Belgium. This is a little box I have on the wall. I've had it there for several years. I bought it because that quote, that sentences just resonated with me once I saw them. In the meantime, I know that it seems to be from George Bernard Shaw, so the famous American novelist. And why does it resonate with me? Because for me, it's not just about life. It's also about what I see happening with Scrum. It reflects for me, don't sit around waiting for stuff to happen. Don't sit around blaming others for things that are happening or are not happening. Do something, go out there, act. Don't be paralyzed. Don't just sit on your chair waiting for magic to happen. Create magic yourself. So you could almost say Scrum isn't about finding it. Scrum is about creating it. And that's what I love in the quote. So, and as in the kind introduction was said, I do indeed started calling myself an independent Scrum Caretaker at some point of my life and my journey with Scrum, because I feel it reflects what I believe in, who I am, sort of my identity almost. Because I not just care for Scrum, I care a lot for Scrum, but I think I even care more for the people in Scrum. So caretaker, caring about Scrum, caring about people. And I realized along the journey, because I didn't call myself this for since my birth or my early days. It's something I discovered, again, a reflection of mirroring how it is about creating yourself. And the fact that it's all about people was not just, it was already in my pre-Scrum life. It's all about people. That just got reinforced with Scrum. So that journey of humanizing the workplace with Scrum is for me so important. It's so essential. So let's make it more than just about products, excellent products, quality, velocity, whatever you want to call it. Let's make Scrum revolve around people more. And that's for me quite essential in a way in all things agile and even in all things organizationally. Meaning any sort of organizational transformation, whether it's agile or otherwise, should start with the fact that it's about people. And all of my beliefs are founded on the observation that people are naturally agile. We're all human beings. We adapt to new insights, new experiences, good things that happen to us, bad things that happen to us. We adapt all the time. We as human beings, we are naturally agile. We have the natural ability to adapt. And what is important in all things transformation-wise or organization-wise, enterprises, whatever, is that the fact that we should have processes in place that should follow that natural ability of people to adapt. And for me, Scrum is such a process. Scrum in that sense is a serving process. It's not a commanding process. I sometimes call it a skeleton process. We all know it's a framework, but framework term is being abused over and over again, unfortunately, because it hurts Scrum. But Scrum is such a process. And then the biggest difficulty is how to get structures and environments and management and leadership and whatever in place that builds on that process and the process that is building on that natural ability of people to be agile. And that we have achieved a lot with Scrum. Scrum has been around since 1995. I've been using Scrum, and I started out with extreme programming back in 2003. So that's over 17 years ago. So that I now call that nearly 2 decades of Scrum and Agile. I still love it. It's not just a passion, because passion is like something that sort of fades away. I'm still passionate about it. So a long-lasting passion. And let me highlight a couple of things what I like about Scrum. So the definition, my definition of Scrum that you see there, is something that sort of drove me in creating a little paper. I published the first version in April of this year. So during the COVID crisis, as the COVID crisis was taking off, and I suddenly had a lot of unexpected free time because all of my assignments and classes were being cancelled, sort of beyond my will, but things happen. And I sort of tried to turn my energy, my irritations, frustrations into something positive. So I wrote a paper called Moving Your Scrum Downfield. And what is important for me in my definition of Scrum, we're not going to talk about it now. It's about simplicity, because we need simplicity, a simple rule set to tackle and address complexity. But we're not going to talk about it. I also want to highlight a little third aspect in my definition, so simple versus complex, and it's all about value. It's about delivering value. It's all about optimizing for value. And value, and that's what I wrote also in my paper, is a very different driver than volume is. You can use Scrum to do more, faster, faster, and still exhaust people and burn out people. It's still not helpful. So focusing on value will also help us create a more humane environment. And value, remember it's a very different driver than volume is. Do Scrum for value. And then it's all about people. So 4 aspects in my definition of Scrum. Sort of the how, simplicity, because we want to tackle challenges, sort of the what do we need to solve or do. Why, value, and who. It's all about people. So let me go into that a little bit. Because what I see in my years of Scrum and in Scrum's years in general, 25 years of Scrum, nearly 2 decades of Scrum and itself for myself, what I've seen happening is that sort of the process aspect of Scrum that people get it. The empirical process, empiricism, so empirical management has replaced predictive management. Agile thinking has replaced industrial thinking. We have moved away from sequential organization of work, linear phases, gateways, handovers, and so on. People have got the idea of empiricism, but that people aspect of Scrum, that is still so difficult. And why do I want to focus on that? Because I hope that maybe the next 25 years of our Scrum will get that people aspect out there more on the table, people thinking about it. For me, it's essential. Because Scrum's DNA for me is composed of two strings. One is empiricism, empirical process control, and the other is self-organization. Like people have the natural ability to be agile, adapt, they also have the natural ability to self-organize. In our personal lives, we are self-organizing all the time. We adapt, we are agile all the time. Why can't we do something in our professional workplaces, our professional environments, that we are allowed to apply that natural ability that we have? So self-organization, I'll come back on that, might have different expressions, but that's sort of that expression of our belief that it's about people. So I hope maybe in a number of years of time, we'll see each other again, and maybe we'll see, hey, amazing. Now, next to that focus on process, there's also now, finally, we get the idea of working with people in Scrum, and those things will reinforce each other, and we'll start enacting Scrum. But I have reasons to believe that it is really needed to start focusing on the people aspect more. These are the results of a survey. It's by the Gallup Institute in the US. So they do every so many years, they do a worldwide global surveys and checking in with people on their levels of engagement. And the results are quite scary, honestly, because it seems that worldwide, globally, on average, only 15% of people indicate that they're really engaged for their companies, for their organizations. meaning they buy into the purpose, the mission, the vision of the company. They're willing to go the extra mile. They go into the office in the morning feeling inspired and energized. Only 15%. Make that calculation for your organization. How many people are employed by your organization? And then make the calculation. 15% of them are really engaged. Globally, around 67, 70% of people are like sort of couldn't care less, don't really care. As long as it can come to the workplace and by the end of the month get my paycheck and leave the office and then finally do the things that I really believe in. But even more scary is that 18% of people are actively disengaged, what I call negatively engaged. Again, make the calculation. Take the amount of people in your organization. 18% of them are potentially working against the company, fighting colleagues, not showing a team spirit, undoing the work of the 15% of people that are really positively engaged. I was recently doing a workshop for a large international company with all HR leaders from around the world, literally. And one of them knew about this survey and they said, yeah, you're right, Gunther, because it has also been shown that if you have 10% of actively disengaged people, that outdoes everything else. You're working in a potentially difficult, challenging environment. Now, I'm going to assume that a lot of you are from India. So I'm from Belgium. And Belgium is in Western Europe. In the survey, India is categorized under South Asia. In India, it seems to be 14%, 65, and so on. In Belgium, we do even worse. That is not comforting because even if the figures for like regions like the US and Canada, 31% of engaged people would be better, that is still 70% of the workforce not engaged or actively disengaged. This is a huge area for improvement. Now to tie that into another survey, a lot smaller, to be honest, it's by BCG, by the Boston Consulting Group. It's less countries, less people, and so on. So I don't know about the actual credibility, but I find the results credible because I see that in organizations around me, organizations that I visit and so on. And what did the Boston Consulting Group do? They checked in with people currently in a management position. And it's actually scary that a lot of people don't really like what they're doing because only 37% of them say that they wish to remain a manager in some midterm. That is scary. But also the people being managed, they don't see management, whatever is in that word, they don't see it as a potential future anymore. Because only 9% of managers or people being managed aspire becoming a manager. Now, and then maybe that resonates with you because it has a lot to do with the global disengagement in our workplaces. Because this applies not only to managers, I believe, but also to teams. And I'll explain why. Because the number one dissatisfaction for people currently in a management position is the fact that they only have to implement decisions, meaning decisions made by other people. So we have grown companies and organizations with a lot of layers. And it seems that at every layer, there's a huge dissatisfaction, meaning I only get to do what the people on top of me tell me to do. And imagine where's the biggest pressure? If every layer just sends pressure back to the layer beyond them, at the bottom, there's the people doing the work, there's a team. So imagine. And a lot of managers say that I only keep doing this because it's my only way to make a higher salary, make a career, and let's say climb the ladder. That is scary because as we know, that is a purely extrinsic motivator. That is not engagement. Now, the good thing was that the Boston Consulting Group also asked those people, so if this is not what management should be about, just implementing decisions, if you don't want to keep being a manager because of those reasons, just because that it's extrinsic motivator, What do you then think management ideally should be about? And these are the top 5 abilities that those people said, this is what management should be about. This is what a manager should be doing. Help grow teams, create meaning, give meaning, motivate teams by meaning, motivate teams by setting clear goals that are actually achievable. Imagine making decisions rather than just implementing decisions that other people tell you to implement. Eliminate obstacles, facilitate teams, help teams in a way self-develop. And this is wow, this is wonderful. This is the future of management because this is Scrum. You will recognize those top 5 abilities in the accountabilities that we have defined in Scrum. This is all about product owners, development teams, developers now called, or Scrum teams, and Scrum Masters. So a confirmation, indirectly at least, by people in a management team saying management should thrive upon the accountabilities defined in Scrum. Because we've got a product owner setting goals, having a vision for the product, deriving product goals for that, optimizing for value, making sure that value is delivered, not volume. We've got a Scrum team creating done increments. Again, this follows what I described in moving your Scrum downfield, the paper that I published earlier. We've got Scrum teams. Scrum teams manage themselves. They don't just implement decisions, they make decisions. The product owner makes decisions. A Scrum Master eliminating obstacles, meaning removing impediments, making sure that impediments get removed at least, facilitating coaching. So management currently says that ideally it should be Scrum. And then management becomes a sort of distributed quality. It's not just in the hands of one person. It's not just hierarchy. It's not exerting power because power is being exerted on you. So by having self-organizing teams with those distributed accountabilities, they will also develop new relationships with other people in the organization and beyond the organization. They will develop new relationships. And again, that's a Scrum Master accountability, developing new, better relationships. They will develop non-hierarchical relationships with stakeholders, with product stakeholders, that will give them feedback, share feedback, insights on the overall strategic direction rather than telling teams what they should be doing. They will develop new relationships with consumers and users and customers and buyers. Again, collecting, soliciting feedback from them about the actual product usage. So stakeholders consuming, giving feedback about the actual value that they feel they're getting out of the product, out of the increments that are being created. So moving authority down the line is the future of management. So, and all those roles, all those people in a way manage. So management as an activity is not necessarily not valuable. It's good. We manage work all the time. Self-management is sort of the minimal expression of self-organization in Scrum. So, and hopefully people, teams with their stakeholders, consumers, and other related parties and actors will grow into an ecosystem, where an ecosystem in Scrum is around a valuable product. And you've got teams, self-organizations, rules, accountabilities in place, but it's not sort of hierarchical structure necessarily. So, and this again, self-organization as the one of the aspects of the Scrum's DNA. It goes back to where we got the name Scrum from, the new product development game. Imagine 1986. Beautiful, brilliant, innovative ideas. Scrum implements all of the aspects described in the new product development game, including self-organizing teams. And then to translate that, it would mean that such a product hub, an ecosystem around a product, would operate like a startup, meaning they set their own agenda, they take their own initiatives, and management would act as an investor more. They provide challenges, objectives, strategic direction, but they do not intervene on a daily basis. They facilitate, coach, they provide support, they make sure that there's funding, they make sure that they share valuable feedback. And then again, the things start acting like an ecosystem, which is very different. It is actually a humanized workplace where people are respected for their accountabilities, for their natural agility, their natural ability to self-organize. We build on that. So we have a process building on the self-organizing capabilities of people, and we start creating structures that build on that process, which in turns build on that self-organizing capabilities. So management in Scrum is no longer about exerting hierarchical power. It's about collaborating, new relationships, having accountability in specific domains, and then collaborating across those accountabilities so that the whole is optimized for value all the time. And that's very important, humanizing the workplace. And it starts not just by the fact that people are naturally agile, people are creative, intelligent creatures, human beings. We are not resources. Stop calling people resources. We are not robots. We are not cogs or replaceable pieces of machinery. We cannot be cloned. You can have two people, same experience, similar training, similar education, and they will still be very different because they have a personality, they have a personal life, they have a sense of humor, which in my case is very difficult because a lot of people get it, Belgian humor, but we are unique creatures. People are people. So build on that one too. And we're approaching the end of 2020. Besides the fact that it's been a very, very strange year, so I hope you've been keeping up well. It by the end of the year, it also seems to be the perfect time for those to do some end of year or yearly performance reviews. Now, by the end of 2020, I still keep thinking back of the last performance review I had, and that was 10 years ago, 2010, 10 years ago. And by thinking about humanizing the workplace, it made me think back on that performance review process, which was actually quite inhumane. It was dehumanizing. I felt intoxicated by the process. I have been feeling intoxicated by a lot of the work environments that I worked in. Sort of something that also drive me towards that independence. I don't want to be part of any fixed structures, at least for the time being, because my feeling of valuation has often been I don't feel valued. I don't feel valued. I feel intoxicated. Sometimes I felt tolerated. Even fewer times I felt like a little bit of appreciated, but it's been very rare that I felt motivated. And that again, humanizing workplace, the lack of engagement, it means that not too many people feel motivated. Maybe they feel tolerated. A lot of them feel intoxicated. They start responding to that by disengaging and negatively engaging. So think about it. Um, Consider the valuation of people. How do people feel valued or not in your organization? And then think about what gives rise to a feeling of valuation. Again, those two things I came up with over 10 years ago. I've gotten 10 years lying around and now I'm picking them up because I feel it's really important that we start working on that. What would make you feel valued? Yeah, I'm doing something that I like to do. It's an interest of mine. I like to do this. I feel I have a talent for that. Or I might be giving the means, again, facilitating the means to self develop my talents. It's something I really, really want to do. And maybe I'm not experienced in it, but you know what? I really want to go for it. Help me develop my talents for that. And it's a novel domain that might be a business domain, an economic domain, a sort of type of organization that I really want to work in. And those things go hand in hand, feeling valued. Think about it. And rather than doing yearly performance reviews that are sort of a big surprise for everybody, that feel like, yeah, you're just abusing this against me to sort of bash me and make me feel bad. What about checking in with people sooner than just on a yearly basis? What about doing this in an iterative, incremental way? What about not using HR, performance, whatever review process against people? What about starting with people? asking for checking in with their feeling of valuation, checking in with their interests, their talents. What can we do to help you? And how can we do that iteratively, incrementally? So think about it. Think about the outcome of your current HR, people oriented review, whatever processes. Do they make people feel motivated, or they just leave them with a feeling of intoxication? And as you know, I've touched on this already by saying that a lot of managers, current people currently in a management position, they only want to keep doing it because of they got some sort of extrinsic motivator. It's some sort of external reward, money, status, position, title, a fancy company car. I don't know. That might be very intoxicating because, like Daniel Pink showed in his book Drive, sort of what truly motivates people, money is important. So Daniel Pink did not say that money is not important. No, money really is important, but up to a certain point. Beyond that point, in the work that we do, creative, cognitive work, Daniel Pink has identified it's about autonomy, it's about mastery, it's about purpose. That is what really, truly, intrinsically motivates people. So once you get the matter of money off the table, that's what should be motivating people. So think about it. Do your people feel valued? Are they intrinsically motivated? Because motivation against engagement, valuation, they go hand in hand. So working with people, I would assume that professional, certainly Scrum Masters, but even professional HR people, professional people in a management position would understand this. Working with people means that just giving people more money will become toxic. It will become an addiction. It will backfire on us. Now, in one of the books that was kindly introduced in by the beginning of the session, called 97 Things Every Scrum Practitioner Should Know, I've been working with a friend of mine in Belgium over here, on these ideas of Daniel Pink. And why did I do that? Because my friend is a lot into neuroscience. So he's really great at Scrum, but he also knows how to connect Scrum and all the practices we do in Scrum with neuroscience. And when talking with them, we came up with Daniel Pink is totally correct, but it's maybe a little bit on the edge of too simple. It's almost oversimplified. And we came up with let's call mastery competence and purpose. Let's call it relatedness. Do you feel related to what you're doing? And let's add two aspects to that. Certainly certainty. We are human beings. We like certainty. We don't like the certain uncertainty of regular layoffs within the company, where often Agile, Scrum, whatever long time ago Spotify model were abused to sort of lay off lots of people. It's not helpful. It doesn't comfort us. It will not motivate us. It will demotivate us. It will disengage us from the company. We don't like a lot of uncertainty. Certainly not in the short time. That's why we organize all work in sprints, so that at least for the next 2 weeks, the next couple of sprints, we try to increase certainty a little bit, but we don't. The idea is not to go back to the false idea of certainty over work being planned out for the next 2 years, let's say, because that's a false sense of certainty that will backfire. And people like to be treated fairly. Um, a fairly wage, so fair salary compared to other people in the organization, to other people on the marketplace doing similar work. And so those things connect. So think about it. Try to create an environment that motivates people, that thrives on the fact that it's about people and not about processes and governance and so on. Yeah. So, and as I said, every individual human being, again, working with people, think about valuation, think about intrinsic motivation. And one of the aspects, autonomy or competence, as we call it, is also autonomy in the fact that I can organize my own work. If I can organize my own life, I can also organize my own work. Scrum's DNA, self-organization. Now Scrum and in the new Scrum guide that has made very, very explicit Self-organization in Scrum starts by people managing their own work in a sprint. Again, in line with the new product development game, management not interfering on a daily basis. Stay out. As managers, work from the outset, meaning in Scrum terms, go visit the sprint reviews when you get invited by the product owners to be there. Share feedback. Don't use it as hierarchy. Don't use it to bash people for their velocity or the whatever types of productivity indicators. Go check in with teams on their well-being, their engagement. How much value have you produced? What can I do to help you produce value even more? So self-managing. Now, I've worked with quite a few teams that were really great at self-managing, so that were no longer manager-led. Not one person thinking that he or she knows better what 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 20, whatever type number of people should be working on, thinking that they know better about that. But even I've seen quite some self-managing teams collapse again, plummet again in terms of motivation, feeling of valuation. And why was that? Because you still had sort of external resource management processes or people, PMOs, resource managers, team leads, external managers, whatever, thinking that they knew better who should be working on what team at what point in time. And again, those people have achieved a state of what I call high collaborativeness, meaning I like teams to be highly collaborative. I don't like the term of high performing teams. No, it's highly collaborative teams. That is what we should strive for. Now, you can destroy the sense of high collaborativeness in the team by regularly intervening in the team composition. So for me, what we should strive for is the additional expression of self-organization, not just allowing teams to do their work in sprints and asking them to commit or whatever. No, also allow them to self-design, meaning if a team of 7, 8, 9, or two teams or three teams working together, if they can truly self-manage and work their work in the sprints, they can also decide how many teams do we actually need, how many people do we need in each teams, what sort of skills and expertise do we need or no longer need in those teams. Self-designing teams. Again, self-organization is in the DNA of Scrum because it's in the new product development game. It's also in the Agile Manifesto. Best things emerge from self-organizing teams. So keep that in mind. Minimal level self-management, but there's much more beauty beyond that. And it's one of the boundaries of self-organization, working in sprints, checking in with each other at least on a daily basis, not losing focus, not doing stuff that will not be finished in the sprint. So all those beautiful boundaries, but they reinforce self-organization. Now, think about this. We talked about engagement, commitment, you could call it. I like engagement a little bit more. The feeling of valuation. What does it need? What does it take? And let me reassure you that by focusing on those aspects, you will become a better company. And not just for the people, not just for the teams, but also business wise. From that survey of the Gallup Institute, they have compared organizations with high levels of engagement versus organizations with low levels of engagement. And they found remarkable differences. And let's start with those first outcomes that organizations, traditional managers look for in the first place, the business and the consumer or the customer outcomes. And it seems that in those companies, they are a lot better. So customer metrics, customer satisfaction, market share, competitive advantage, appreciation of your user base is a lot higher. Productivity is higher. And again, in terms of Scrum, productivity is the ability to produce value. It's not volume. Sales were better, profitability was better. So financial benefits, money, cost reductions, whatever you think in terms of money, but also the employee outcomes were a lot better. People felt more valued. Absenteeism was lower, burnouts were lower, depression rates were lower. The turnover of staff was a lot better. So people leaving the company much less. So only good things in physical work, less quality incidents, less safety incident, but also in that sense, quality will be better. So investing in your people in a more humane work environment will really pay off. But it seems to be the most difficult thing. So like I said, in Scrum, the idea of process, we're getting there. We're getting there, empiricism. But you will get a lot more out of the regular inspections adaptations if you truly build on self-organization. That will just boost your agility enormously. But that seems to be the most difficult aspect I found. And I translated it into this statement saying, you know what, the biggest impediment to Agile, getting more out of Agile, getting more benefits out of Scrum, is the fact that we are suffering from this ingrained obsession to control individuals, tasks, estimates, being busy, utilization, capacity thinking. It's all about individuals. It's not about teams. It's not about working on the outsets. It's breathing down people's neck all the time. So the future of Scrum. Stop managing for tasks and individual performance. Get more out of working in sprints by fostering a bounded environment where people can actually engage. Think about what truly motivates people: competence, autonomy, relatedness, fairness, certainty, the feeling of valuation, interest, talent. Is this an environment that you want to work in? How can I help you? Management, working from the outset. And then that third aspect of transformations, people naturally agile, process following that natural ability, structure building on that process, building in itself on that natural ability of people. As you grow product hubs, you might be transforming your pyramid type of organization into a networked system of product hubs. Every product hub is a self-organizing ecosystem, but there's a sort of higher purpose, relatedness to purpose of the company, mission, vision statement, and so on. Management acting as investors still, management being sort of part of the networked system, yeah, and leadership becoming a distributed quality rather than just the hippo thing, the highest paid person shouting the loudest. And then we're at the third part of that transformation stuff. People, process, rethinking your structures. I want to thank you very much for being here. I hope you get some ideas out of it. I hope we can meet each other again, maybe after my next 17 years of Scrum, and meet and say, oh my God, we have achieved so much. We started truly enacting Scrum, enacting Scrum's DNA, not just applying the process, but also restoring the respect for the fact that it's all about people. I can only invite you to sort of keep learning, keep that openness, keep improving, keep scrumming. Don't stop. Keep doing that. So thank you very much. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope you already had a wonderful day. There's another day coming up tomorrow. Enjoy all of the speakers.